Hello, everybody, and happy Friday to you as we close out our last Friday of the season of spring, the vernal equinox. Coming up as we head into next week, some big time weather to talk about. And in this update, I'm going to talk about our chance of rain moving through now, changing to snow for a few, windy, cold weather, and an active pattern ahead. I'll have all those details coming up next. Love to have you log in and let me know exactly where you're watching from. If you have questions, remember, you are what make Hutch's Weather interactive and fun.
Now, a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
All right, thanks so very much. Once again, I appreciate my sponsors, and I appreciate you and you bringing me your questions about the weather as we close out our work week. There is a little bit of rain showing up on the radar. Let's get right to that. Heading into northwest Minnesota now from the War Road area through Thief River Falls, heading in towards Fosston and out toward Bemidji. A little bit of light rain shower activity pushing its way in. Hi, Cheryl from Park Rapids. Good to see you on board. Now, we do have wind advisories in our area, but look at our temperatures. We still are at 47 for Bemidji, Fosston 46, Crookston 46, Grand Forks a sneak in at you at the airport. It's 51 wonderful degrees. Amaretto at that same reading. Even up north, Winkler and southern Manitoba, 45 degrees. We have Rugby at 48 degrees. Carrington in the 50s, mid-50s for Jamestown this hour. Fargo-Moorhead, 52. That's the same thing we have in Fergus Falls. 54 for you in Wahpeton, Breckenridge. All in all, the weather's warm. Now, by the way, these red counties you see here, we have a red flag warning, meaning there's a pretty dangerous situation with the wind and dry conditions in the valley. Burning is a problem, and the exposed vegetation after being dead since last fall is very flammable. So careful with fires. That's in effect for the next almost 2 hours. Wind advisory in effect beyond that, as our wind is expected to change. Notice the wind direction here for most locations. These little wind barbs, we call them, shows the wind is blowing mainly out of the west. A few counties seeing a little bit more of a northwesterly wind as we get up into Manitoba. And by the overnight hours here after a bit, we're going to see all of our wind direction switch to a more northerly one, and that means very gusty and dusty. All right, let's get to the topic at hand here. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go to it. First and foremost, your north winds tonight are going to bring in some passing clouds in the northern counties. We have those now. We have some rain showers that will mix over and become a few flakes of snow. So sprinkles of rain now mixing with flakes of snow in our northwest Minnesota counties. I think we stay for the most part dry across northeast and north central North Dakota, but winds and gusts that will make it feel very brisk in the morning. Temperatures in the 20s north, 28 degrees in Hallock and Kitson County, holding closer to freezing in the Southern Valley. The green areas here, a little milder, if you can call it that, but it will be windy and it will have a bite to it. Russ joining from Mesa, Arizona. All right, good to talk to you tonight, as well as Kelly from Drayton. Good to have you on board from the Northern Valley, and definitely windy. Gray as well. Is there any rain shower activity, Kelly, making its way down to the ground for you? All right, now as I move out of the way, you can see that the Bemidji area all the way up to the War Road area, seeing temperatures in the mid-20s. Same thing for you out at the Baudette region. We're talking mid-20s. Thief River Falls, Red Lake Falls in the 25 to 30 degree range, as well as Crookston, a little closer to 30 for you and for the Grand Forks. That's how you start your Saturday off. Wind aplenty, wind chills down in the teens. Fargo 33, 16 below the record low. We're done with some of the 20 below zero record dates now as things are starting to modify a bit, but those gusts will bite at 40 miles per hour. The wind just continues to blow. Air is going to be in a hurry tomorrow. You'll want to get some stock and some hairspray and stuff like that if you're thinking of making some shifts on the stock market. Side note, Hutch is not a stock advisor, so please do not do that. All right, now let's take a look at this. North winds gusting to 40 to 45 miles per hour in spots, particularly northeast North Dakota and the Red River Valley. Is going to be windy. Get in the trees of Minnesota. We're talking about wind gusts over 30 miles per hour. I cannot rule out passing flurries here or there across our area. I'll show you a model on that here momentarily. Temperatures 30s for almost everyone. We'll have a few 20s along the international border, including Roseau, War Road, Greenbush, Badger, Kennedy, and also all the way down into Thief River Falls and Bemidji, where Babe the Blue Ox will want to bundle up. Wind chills are going to be mighty chilly as well as we go through the day. I'm not expecting significant accumulations for anyone, but there could be some slippery roads, as maybe some wet roads tonight. will freeze up a little bit with a dash of snow. Wind chills to around 22 degrees in Fargo throughout the midday and afternoon hours. Gusty winds with a renegade flake of snow not out of the question. Watch out for those renegades. You know that could be a bad deal. 31 on Sunday as we'll stay cool with the snow chances exiting. Then we have changes, a little hiccup in the forecast with some warmer weather making its way in to get the week started. Then after that, we're talking back down into the 30s with a real shift in the weather pattern late in the week. We'll talk more about this in just a second. I do want to point out there's been a couple of changes, a little bit of a warm up in a couple of the day's forecasts, including as early as Monday for some of us here, as we enjoy temperatures back in the 40s again. I was anticipating us being a little cooler, but I think we'll see some more of a westerly and southerly component to the wind, and that will definitely be a nice, pleasant change. Now, remember, 19th is that's the vernal equinox. That's when our spring actually begins, but it does look like we could have a flurry here there, nothing significant. It still remains mild. Now, after that, this is unsettled. Now, I want to point this out to you that as we go through the next few days, our unsettled weather will become pretty wild and long-lasting, almost to the end of the month. So at the Wednesday timestamp here, once we get into Wednesday through the late week and the weekend ahead, it looks like all is on as far as our chances of precipitation go. To show you a little bit more on that, I'm going to pull up a look at some of our climate forecast friends' outlook here as we go through the next several days. Let's see what they say. Let's look at temperatures first, and we'll put this on. I'll throw a banner on here so you can see. All right. Number one, the areas of blue, these areas include the Dakotas, below average temperatures between days 8 and 14. So after we get through the next week, we're going to be below average, or the risk of below average temperatures is greater. From Minnesota through the Dakotas and Montana, 12 hours of daylight, Jake says. Woohoo indeed. That's the equinox, equal night hours, 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of darkness all over the entire globe, with the exception of mountain chains and things like that that impact the arrival or rising of the sun. Tracy says, yuck! I got you, Tracy. I understand. Below average temperatures, they'll be above average in the northeastern United States. And look at Alaska. Hawaii. Oh, are you heading out to Hawaii? Looks like a chance of being just a little bit below average there in the beautiful state of Hawaii. All right, now that's your 8 to 10 day temperature outlook. What does that mean for moisture? Let's take a look at this. Our 8 to 10 day forecast shows a more active pattern taking place from the west coast through the central Rockies and the northern plains. I must say, we are below average for our snowfall amounts here in the northern plains, and drought is really starting to expand over some of our area. So what about this track and trend towards wintry weather? Let's start with an hour-by-hour forecast of what you can expect tonight into your day tomorrow. And to do that, I'm going to load this up on my forecast model right here, and we'll look at a higher resolution model and take a look at what it is forecasting for the day tomorrow. On top of that, we're going to also dial in a little look at what we're expecting with regards to that long-range 8 to 10 day forecast, where it looks like we're going to get some very unspring-like weather heading into the first full week of your spring season. Okay, let's start with a look at our forecast radar for the night tonight and tomorrow. All right, here we go. It's loading up now. Let me load this over, pop the model up behind me now, and you'll take a look at this. Now, I'm going to have to zoom out. See all these little streamers of snow working their way in? So high resolution model shows that as we go through the next 24 hours or so, we're going to have that gusty wind all the way across the area. Now, tonight's rain showers, the model's pretty well on this. As we go through the 9 o'clock hour, it will be sweeping to the south and east. We still have warm temperatures. Notice the air cold enough for freezing is north of Winnipeg, even as we go to bed tonight. But it will not take long with 40-mile-per-hour northerly winds to usher with a towel in hand the cold air into the northern plains. And that means flying flakes here and there, not a lot of accumulation. So from Winkler and Walhalla all the way to Badger and Bemidji, there'll be a chance of a flying flake. I do not think we'll see more than a renegade flurry in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Let me get you in a little closer. Do you see these little narrow bands? High resolution models can pick up on the fact that, you know what, we're going to have some areas with a little bit of enhancement to regards to the snow. So could you look back on history for St. Patrick's Day 48 years ago? Everyone says that you were born on a blizzard, says Ken. That's a good one. That's a good one for the old annals of history. I would have to do some digging on that for you, Ken. I'm going to make a note and see what I can find. 48 years ago. And you're talking on St. Patrick's Day, so the 17th, right? Look at Hutch taking notes. I'll see what I can find there for you, Ben. All right, now let's take a look at this. Your forecast for tomorrow, by the morning, we'll have some areas of snow. These little narrow bands could cause a little bit of accumulation here or there, but nothing too substantial. And that wind ripping out of the north at 30 to 40 miles per hour at times means, you know, there's going to be some areas that have a little bit of accumulation and blowing snow and reduced visibility and unfun driving. Be ready for wintry travel in a few places tomorrow with the blowing snow, and it lasts all the way in to the 16th there, the night of Saturday. And then look at this, as we head in, it starts to taper off and fall apart as we get into the 1 p.m. time frame on Sunday. So north wind will keep us on the cold side through both weekend days. That's a look at that. Going to Ottertail Monday morning, Mike says, and it looks pretty good for that because we'll start to see a reversal of temperatures on Monday and things looking pretty well, indeed. All right, I'm going to give you a hint. This hint is something that I'd like to see you check into here. Let me go ahead and pull up some content for you I'd love to have you look at. Okay, pardon me while I look. Here's what's going on. I just posted a very interesting feature on what we're expecting to be having as we go into the next week, that 8 to 10 day forecast. It's a national look and it looks to be quite wintry indeed. I have a huge video on that just hit my Facebook channel, so I'd love for you to watch it and give me your feedback on that. I'm putting the link down here at the bottom right now for you to go ahead and tie into that. And while you're doing that, I'd love to have you take a look and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'd love to have more of us jump over from this Facebook channel to the YouTube side of things to see, what Hutch has going on there. I do a little bit more with regards to national weather, but the impacts that are expected here in the Northern Plains are not insignificant. In fact, some areas could pick up on some serious snowfall here across the Dakotas, Minnesota. And it's not our favorite type of precipitation as we head into the first week of spring, but it's that time of year here. And many of us have well below average snowfall totals for the year so far, the season so far, and we could do a little bit of catching up in some areas based on this. So check out that video. Let me know what you think as well. All right, thank you so very much for your support. We got Jake reporting some drizzling and gusty winds up in Bemidji, close to 40 miles per hour, and that'll make the pine trees in beautiful Bemidji and Beltrami County do a little swaying and dancing across the skies as well. Just joining, can you do Jen is asking if I can do a recap at the end. No rush. The recap is it's going to be very windy. Our wind that's westerly now becomes northerly. Our sprinkles that are on the radar now will turn into a few flakes of snow. So dashing bands of flurries out there as you go through your Friday morning early and all the way into Saturday. We'll have some periods of fast passing flakes. Gusty north winds over 40 miles per hour, blustery and wind chilly Saturday and cold Sunday as well. I'll pop up that 7-day for you, Jen, once again, so you can have a look-see at that as well. Because we don't want you to miss out, and it's okay. We're not reviewing everything here, but you can always go ahead and watch from the beginning. And I did tell everybody that if you're looking at this, we got some big-time changes nationally in the effects and impacts of our weather. I'm going to show you just a little hint here at our region on a model that shows as we start spring on the 19th, a whole bunch of changes are heading our way. So we'll let this load up. Here's our weekend weather dash. That flies through quiet. Spring begins and whap, right there, round 1. Whap, round 2. Whap, round 3. Whap. Oh, you get it. So it does look like between now and the end of the month, the next 2 weeks, this American model is advertising some significant weather. Check the link that I put in the comments below to check out my YouTube video on that. You all are the most bestest. This will be my last update for this Friday evening, as Hutch has plans to try to take advantage of the sprinkles in the 40s before it becomes 20s and 30s for the weekend. You all have a wonderful night. I will be back with updates tomorrow on what you're seeing as the snow bands set up. If there's anything significant, I'll have an update for you regardless. Paula, thank you so very much for your stars. Susie says they say 90 days after a foggy day. It will storm. Guess what? March 23rd, you wrote down a big storm. Let's see what this model says here. This is kind of fun. I love to look into these things because I don't write down the, hey, we had a real foggy day stuff every time and then track that. And some sayings I've heard isn't 90 days, but 30 days. So it makes it a little confusing on this end. But let's take a look at the 23rd. Watch the date at the top here. Boom. Look at that. You know what, Susie Hill, you could be a forecaster just like Hutch. Just bring your guide with all of the foggy days and we'll definitely know when there could be some impactful weather. Love it. Thanks so much. Jen, looking forward to some snow, are you? Hutch says don't throw away your snow blowers yet. Don't put them away for the season. Make sure they're gassed up. Make sure they still start. Wax those shovels. We could have some wild weather heading our way. Now, in the video that you go there, there's some ridiculous snowfall totals on this American model that we cannot believe this far out. They are kind of fun to see. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, and, well, look for more updates from me right here. And some exciting announcements coming in the very near future as well. Oh, and hey, if you haven't heard this yet, because I have different viewers every night and it's Friday, I have had my friends over at the Fargo Monthly magazine do a little article and write up on me. They called me up. I said, sure, and they did a magnificent job. Give it a read. Pick it up at your local newsstand. And if not, I'll put a link in the comments right now as to where you can find a copy online if you don't see them in the stores near you in some of our surrounding communities. All right, here you go. I'll post that in the comments as well. Thank you all so very, very much. I appreciate you sharing the good word that Hutch's weather is right here. You have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk again soon. We'll talk again this weekend, I'll bet. Bye-bye now. And yes, I can work with you, says Susie. That's awesome. Bring your fog booklet and records, or at least check in when we do, and let us know what your fog forecast shows for big winter weather events. Have a good night. Thanks, Val. Good to see you.